In the blue, in the left-hand side of the screen, the 9 o'clock location is Terran. This is last. And in the 6 o'clock location, in the red, is our Protoss player.
Oh my god. What's going on here?
It's a pop-out sign?
It's a pop-out sign. I've seen everything.
That is... How... What a god. He like took it literally to the next level.
Do we take that prize back from the other guy now?
He added a dimension to his fan sign. Oh my... I've seen it all. Wow, that is actually insane. And it does point out that last name is AlphaGo because it feels like you are playing against AI. When it comes to making units, Flash is pretty good, but last is right up there with him. He has incredible macro. The longer the game goes, the more you have to think that it's going in last's favor.
Right. I mean, that makes sense, especially as in a TVP in general. Like, if you're like a macro god, the longer the game goes on, it's actually just insanely scary. If you can't whittle down their mech army, like, it can be a really scary game. I like the lurker eggs.
Those are aesthetic, I guess, if you want to say it that way. Either way, the reason that they're there is that they do help in the wall-in. I believe it's a 3-building wall-in for Terran. I'm not totally sure about that, and it does depend on exactly how open you want to leave it. A lot of times that can really bite you if your opponent goes for some heavy gateway kind of army, and especially versus Protoss, a lot of times what happens is they will go for some Dragoon aggression out of heavy gateway numbers, and you have to be ready with a bunker in position to kind of tank those hits until you can get siege mode up. I don't actually know what to expect here because we also don't have a probe out on the map yet for Movie, so he's not going to go for anything crazy like gas steels or manor pylons.
Yeah, the lack of scouting is interesting. I don't know when the standard scout time is in this matchup, but it seems like he's playing without the intention of scouting, at least as of lately.
So I didn't actually mention this earlier, but the map is Fortress, and not only is it constructed like a fortress, but it has some of the same characteristics. There's kind of like a moat almost. The island bases in the corners are islands except for workers. They can mineral walk through those little tiny gateways into the front of the corner bases and build a base there, but it's inaccessible to all other units by ground. So that can be a kind of sneaky way to get an extra gas if your opponent doesn't scout it.
That's very cute. I wish they did more stuff like this in StarCraft 2. You have like these unique back bases and different attack paths where certain units can go through.
I think you are starting to see maybe a little bit more of that with some of the stranger maps coming out, but especially in StarCraft 1, there was this era where you started to see a lot of experimentation. This is one of the ways. Oh no, is he going to use that Marine? Oh, wow.
If he gets out, that would be okay. Might go for that. No, okay, he's just getting out.
Oh, he's just going to kind of run around a little bit more, and the Marine cannot overextend because the Zealot.
Behind this base is massive.
It is actually super insane. And that's a big thing to talk about because while your main, you would normally think, hey, that's pretty well protected, but not always. You can actually see down here, this mineral line in the main is very exposed, and so is the one in the natural there for the 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that natural expansion is so exposed. It's insane.
So lots of places to hide workers, and that really adds an interesting dynamic to this map because you have to pursue your opponent's scout really a long time, commit to taking it down. And I mean, the Zealot will come through here. It's not going to see anything revolutionary. There's the bunker at the front stopping the Dragoons, like I said earlier.
Can you see if there's units in the bunker? Like,
you can't see that graphically, but you can, obviously, when something walks next to it, does it fire?
So that's the only way to tell? You have to walk something in to see if it fires?
Yeah, and I mean, you'll see players do that, like poke in, see. They can tell by how much damage it does, how many Marines are in the bunker.
Sure.
So it's not that difficult to check. And you should expect this kind of dance as a Terran player, but it's all about how many Dragoons your opponent sends to pressure that wall before siege mode is up.
Yep. Okay, so we see the Terran at least getting a scout off as of now. Is that his first scout of the Protoss this game?
I believe so. I mean,
so there's...
Yeah, the Protoss scouted earlier, but the Terran had yet to get that information. And he doesn't have an academy, so there's no scans or anything like that in the game. You do have to get that tech. It's not something that just comes with morphing your command center like StarCraft 2.
Dude, Did Dragoons just outrange bunkers?
It's when Dragoon range finishes that you outrange
It's actually
bunkers.
really scary. 4 Dragoons?
It looks scary, but as long as you have less than 6 Dragoons, they can't one-shot a worker. So when you do see 6 Dragoons at the front, and there's 2 more on the way right now, what you see sometimes is, I think it's Is it 2-shot? Yeah. So what you'll see is the Dragoons try to dive past, snipe off SCVs, and then come back. And actually,
this is actually eating a lot.
Yeah. Oh, this is really
This is eating
cute.
a lot of resources, though.
It's eating resources, but it's kind of the ebb and flow of the game. And actually, he recognizes, hey, here's that magical 6 Dragoon number. I need to bring up more SCVs, because you do need 1 SCV per Dragoon in order to keep that repair going. And Movie's actually doing a good job switching his targeting between the bunker and the barracks.
Yeah, it looks like he might get an SCV on the edge here. That's nice. It's like these pickoffs are really good, considering, you know, he's not really losing anything by doing it.
Here's the tank coming out, but actually he can dive on that tank, but he doesn't have vision over the wall, I believe. Yeah, he has no like observer or anything right there. So siege mode is very late, and that's why you see Movie getting so much pressure damage done. And on the other side of this, while his opponent's getting siege mode, it's like DT tech on the way.
This is going to be really scary if you don't have any scans. I don't believe there's an engineering bay, right? Do you need engineering bay for turret in this game?
Engineering bay for turrets, and you need academies for scans. He does have an E-bay, so the turret coming up will kind of essentially give him that detection he needs.
Okay, so it's not that scary, actually. I don't know how big of an investment the Dark Shrine is in this position. Like, you are getting a Templar Archives. Or they're not the Dark Shrine, sorry, the DT Tech.
Well, so any Protoss player, their dream against Terran is to kind of cripple them in some way. 3-3 mech is just about the scariest unit composition in the game. So anything you can do to stop the Terran player from either turtling up and just getting upgrades like that, or just kind of put a dent in their economy. DTs might be the answer here, but I think that Last is going to be well enough prepared for this that he should be solid enough on 2 bases to either macro off of those for a while or look to get a 3rd if he wants to take that island base.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Last has any opportunity of dying to this, at least, so... Like,
yeah.
It should be nearly impossible for him to die. He looks really well defended.
I mean, you say that, but I've seen some crazy DT shenanigans, and we already have a couple of them in a shuttle headed towards last base.
He might be able to snipe this turret. It's actually kind of... Okay, never mind. Nice.
You can absolutely do that. I'm glad you pointed that out, but you'll notice that the turret is in range of another turret. So if the DTs try to kill one turret, maybe they get the turret, but they'll also still die, which is a little bit too much to commit. So the eBay perfectly positioned, scouts the shuttle coming in. He might try to
I was going to say, he might want to dive the tank, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he will, though.
But fortunately, he's got SCVs pre-positioned to repair the turret, or maybe they were just idle and he hadn't set them in mind just yet. But
I think you have to just accept the fact that you're probably not going to do anything here.
I really like this by Movie. He's saying, okay, well, where are you weak? Because he knows there's no scanner. Excuse me, he already has seen that, so he's just picking Last apart.
Am I wrong, but is that a very fast Arbiter?
It is. 2-based Arbiter is coming out here, and usually you would see this off of maybe 3 bases, but you don't want to take that forward base because it is very vulnerable, and neither player's taking an island base. So, yeah, this is a
that
vulnerability.
DT has to be so close that he's like one...
They were seen for a second, but I believe they are still in that shuttle.
He didn't just shoot his own SCV, did he?
I think he might have maybe had a little bit of friendly fire splash. Oh, man, this is so sick for Movie.
Wow.
There's no anti-air. He is being... oh, my God. Okay, so it's
he's
not
out of
spinning.
range, yeah.
The machine shop's not spinning, so he's not going to cancel an upgrade, but it will stop him from building tanks on that.
That was so close.
Spider Mines do detect, but if you micro it correctly, you can actually outwit them.
Yeah, he's not... I mean, he had really good control there. He didn't lose any DTs. And he's getting pretty much everything he can in this position.
Now, there is an academy. Movie will see
no.
that. But can he actually... Oh, no, but he does get one DT out. Unfortunately, it is still in vision range, and it does go down.
That shuttle was like super
damaged?
Blocked in.
Yeah.
Like, there's turrets everywhere. He like navigated himself around a minefield and then just got trapped in there. It's like, well...
You might say, oh, Movie made a bad move. But he was going to die inevitably. The lifespan of that shuttle was not going to be much longer. Now, let's see if these vultures can get in. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, only one, but still, that's really annoying. Vultures are so fast.
That's like having Lings in your base. It's just so hard to take that down. It's also hard to move your Dragoons back through your Sim City because they glitch out a lot. They're hard to control. And so he's not controlling it a whole lot, but it can be annoying in the back of the base. And eventually, it'll get
it goes
cleaned
down,
up.
but still.
But still. Yeah, it's good to get vision at least.
The Dark Templar really paid off, by the way. Like, considering how much he actually built for defenses and then still lost machine shops and units, like, that was really sick. We see a third base in the top right.
Yeah, now this is the G5 build. You know, this is definitely not something that Last will expect.
Is that another base? Okay.
What?
It's a double expand.
Wow, I have not seen it. Okay. I mean, he went for this 2-base Arbiter tech, and now he's going to try to expand behind it. So I didn't get a chance to see what exactly he's researching. It's either recall or stasis. I'm guessing it's going to be recall.
Can he get the CC from the other side?
If he had been able to snipe that SCB off, that would have been huge.
Oh, he's going to get 1 tank at least.
Yeah, but he's going to lose a bunch of Dragoons.
3 Dragoons for 1 tank? That's close. I think I would still prefer the 3 Dragoons, but...
Honestly, killing any tank at any point is just a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to send out plaques for that, but we had to stop that a few years ago. Either way, this is really sick, and I think this is to drop the main, not those vulnerable bases. Last still has no idea that movie's expanded.
He's going to scout this one with the Vulture, I think.
No, I don't know if he's actually going to go north from here. Oh, okay, so he is going to scout that bush, or that base, but he still has vultures in the main off the drop.
When you scout this, you don't think there's another base in the top right.
Yeah, absolutely. And
okay, that's a nice
nice
pickoff.
Snipe on the shuttle, or not shuttle, it's a drop ship.
But anyways, yeah, he doesn't know but the top right, and that's actually the vulnerable base where there's like a lot of mining going on right now.
So what you want to trick the Terran player into doing is pushing out across the map for a base that doesn't matter. Maybe Last gets out there. Oh, but he doesn't have vision over here. Scan?
Okay. Scan. Still getting a tank. That's not bad again. These are like units that aren't going to do anything, honestly.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The DT's any value they can get is just bonus, and Movie's doing a really good job utilizing them to get that value.
I really like the mind games with this base, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely don't think there's another base in the top right.
Uh-oh, Pro's getting caught in transit. You have to scatter and run a little bit, but these vultures should get cleaned up. Is there an observer to scout for mines out on the map? That's the only thing that Movie really has to worry about. Yeah, there he is. It's a good old game of Minesweeper.
Yeah, he's really well spread, though. He's doing a really good job of, like, not taking damage to these vulture run-bys, too. Like, he's playing a really nice game right now. I really like the 2-base Arbiter, too. Like, defensively, it's just really nice.
Yeah, it really is. And it is kind of making Last a little bit hesitant. But I always have to say, but the Terran player is still going double upgrades off of 2 armories, as you would imagine. But this recall could really put a dent.
And the main is so wide open, like, you can just recall, and there's just infinite space back there.
Now, there are a few mines back there, which will not only detect under the Arbiter cloak, but it will also do a lot of damage if you recall on top of that. So here comes this Arbiter.
Here comes the recall.
It is coming in.
Oh, he's going right into the main.
Yeah,
okay, that's very risky. There's 2 turrets here.
Oh,
wow.
Sick recall coming through. Absolutely gigantic. But there are siege tanks and mines. The friendly fire off the mine drag from the Goon takes out so many tanks. And now, this is just going to deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, it looks like there's a drop in the main for in Movie's main, but I don't know if it's doing anything.
There's a little bit of counter damage being done on the other side, but there's another Arbiter coming forward. Now, there is a turret. There are mines here, so
this isn't going to do much here.
I don't know how much this is going to do. Can he get another big mine drag? No. The Zealots are on top of the tanks, though, in the backline. Will they be cleaned up? And it looks like the answer is yes. And all the units in the main getting taken out there as well.
I mean, that was a very good trade for what it was, especially when you're on 4 bases against 3. Like, that was a pretty good trade.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is what the Protoss looks to do.
Oh, it's just a bunch of mines.
Oh.
I thought it was like, because I'm not sure what it was. It's just like a blue spot. I'm like, what's going on over there?
Yeah, it's a blue blob, guys.
Yeah.
It's about all the analysis we can give. But yeah, it's mines from earlier. So there was no drop there. False news, or fake news.
Fake news, yeah.
The damage done, though, is real, right? And that's exactly what I said. As a Protoss player, you just want to try to deal any amount of damage you can to the Terran to delay their 3-3 push.
Yeah, he did a great job, too. Like, that found a lot more damage than it should have, in my opinion.
The 4th base is, I believe, something that Last still does not know about. So for Movie, this is a big advantage. You'll start to see him skyrocket in supply. His resources are through the roof. And he has all these Arbiters and forces moving out on the map to really try to limit Last's vision.
Yeah, I'm wondering if these Marines are scouting for that extra base now.
Exactly, yeah.
But you said that before that they couldn't move through.
Yeah, Marines cannot get through there. Neither can Vultures specifically. So that is a very safe base unless Last knows to send a dropship up there to harass it. But
he probably will know that. If he scouts enough of these bases and knows there's nothing there, he has to assume, right?
Okay, well, you can actually, viewers at home can follow this on your mini-map by watching and seeing if there's ever a blue square over that upper right-hand corner. And if there is, then Last knows about it.
Yeah, I don't think there... Oh, I see what you're saying. Like if he moves his camera there.
Right. I mean, obviously he doesn't need to do that because he knows, hey, there's a blob up there. It's stuff.
But that would be super suspicious. If he looks there, then his chances are he's thinking about it at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he'll figure it out eventually because he does know that Protoss, biggest way to beat Terran is to nomadically expand around the map. Look at this. It's 3 Stargate carriers, and this is off of an insane economy. I mean, Movie, it might look like he has bad macro, but he just can't spend money as fast as he's getting it.
Yeah, it's actually really awesome he puts in the top right, too. So if like, any weird base trade scenarios come or anything like that where the mains are like traded, he actually just has all of his production in the top right, furthest away from the Terran player. It's actually really nice.
This is absolutely sick. Not only is the base hidden, the tech's hidden, and there's no anti-air. This is just vultures and tanks. And even the tank count has been whittled down a little bit. Yeah, there are just no Goliaths.
We're probably going to see him try and trade some of his ground army at some point soon, and then he's probably going to replace it with another Stargate army or like some carriers. Like right now, he's actually maxed almost. I don't know how many carriers he can actually, fit into his army right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you point that out. Anytime you maybe miss a pylon or a depot. Okay, so he did show that it was scouted or scanned or something like that.
I think it was a scan.
So we should see Movie look to maybe trade a little bit. He is positioning aggressively, trying to either pressure the army or the base, and it looks like it's the army. Now, if Movie loses too much, there is an opportunity for Last to just
he's trying to EMP the Arbiter there.
Nice try, man. That EMP missile is
Not
very
happening.
slow and did miss the Arbiter.
He might go for another recall here. Looks like he's trying to position for it. This would actually be really good for him if he trades. Like if this army gets into a position on the bottom side and he recalls into the main.
Oh man, Movie's just running Last Dragon. He's coming into the natural.
Oh, okay, here comes
a gigantic recall all over the middle line, and most importantly, those armories. Which
the armories are instantly targeted down.
I believe that's 3-3 spinning on them, but that is a big takedown. And look at Last's army. He thinks he's just gonna have to go for it.
Yeah, and remember what I said about the Stargates being in the top right. Like if you kill this bottom base, you're not gonna really have anything to deal with the carriers.
I mean, there are a few Goliaths out, but I mean those are not the greatest.
4 Goliaths versus 3 carriers.
It's going to be 6 carriers momentarily, and 6 is kind of the sweet spot. And more importantly, there's all these artifacts out on the map that you can see right there. Those prevent Goliath mobility and make it great for carriers. So I think this is looking really good for Movie. No regret.
It would be nice if we see these carriers jump on these tanks immediately, as fast as possible.
I mean, spoiler alert, EMP only does so much.
Look at this one interceptor. Yeah, good luck with that.
The little interceptor that couldn't. That carrier is not going to be doing a whole lot, but the rest of the carriers will show up here pretty soon.
He's going to focus one down immediately. That's actually a really nice call. Like, not having a huge Goliath count is really important in this matchup right now.
I mean,
in this game
numbers are going to increase. There's a tipping point for Goliath numbers. If you take down enough of them, your opponent will never be able to build a critical mass again. But if they can just tip the balance in their favor, the interceptors go down, you lose all the money remaking them, the carriers don't do anything, and the Terran army rolls over you.
Yeah, look, I mean, looks like so far this game is going really, really well for Movie. I mean, looking at the supplies, looking at the tech, everything is going really well for him right now. Looks like Last might try and go for the top right base, but even then, there's still some carriers up there right now.
There's a starport there, and what our observer is now showing us is that more starports are being built. And so this is going to be for raids. And one thing that you can do as Terran against a player that's going mass carriers is that you can build cloak raids, dive in, kill the carriers, and the Protoss kind of rolls over after that.
Yeah. I still feel like this army is actually really vulnerable right now for Last. Like, parading around the middle can be really scary. He only has a couple Goliaths there.
For everybody out there that, like me, has wishful hopes of battle cruisers, we are probably not going to see those. Those are in general pretty
not that great.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, if you're starting to build battle cruisers against an army like this, you're in deep water.
You're memeing a little bit at that point. So I don't think we're going to see that. But yeah, cloak raids are absolutely a great way to do this. You cloak, you run in. Hopefully there's not an observer, or maybe you snipe the observer, and then things go from good to bad really quickly for the Protoss.
Yeah, looks like he's okay. We just got an observer there.
Yep, that's absolutely huge. Any observers he can take down really increase the effectiveness of the Wraith Ball that's being built.
Yeah, I don't think this army alone here can fight. The are we going to see another recall here?
Oh, if he recalls on those mines, that's absolutely terrible.
Do you think he recalls the carriers here? What does he recall? Okay, no.
No carriers, yeah, it's just going to be gateway units. That's a little bit risky to put your carriers in the middle of the Terran base.
I was just curious because I wasn't sure how many ground units he actually had left.
Now, there are several mines there that do get some decent hits off, but more importantly, there's not enough back home to defend. So Last has to make a decision.
Nice.
And a Zealot drop in here to stop the mining from that safe island base. I mean, Movie's just killing it this game, and by it, I mean
Last. The armories again. Oh, God, this is really annoying for Last.
It really is. I actually haven't checked the Terran upgrades in a cool minute.
I have to imagine it's 2-2. Maybe that's a third upgrade there.
It might be 3-2, but I'm not sure from having not checked. But we're checking the Wraith numbers, and that's what really needs to be Last
It's been
most important
completely
thing.
unscouted, and there's no observer with these carriers,
Yeah.
so this could do a lot of damage.
This is a huge swing in the game if Last is able to kill these carriers. It really
These
just
carriers
gets the
are being
balance.
really aggressive too right now.
Yeah, and they don't know about those rays. And especially if there's an EMP on the carriers, they will just melt. Oh, and I think the rays are actually just now moving in. Do they have cloak? They do.
They
And
do.
yeah, you're right.
Oh,
There's
no.
no observers. Last catching Movie completely
scans
off
to-
guard.
Yeah, this is really terrible.
He did scan.
Okay, here
his-
comes the observer, but he can scan and kill it. He just killed it.
Yeah, and now,
Okay, there's two more.
coming in. He needs to scan.
Can he kill
He's gonna
another one, too?
recognize that he's taking damage. Where's the scan to kill the observers? Oh, I think he's actually just going to run for the hills. He knows he did a lot of damage, but did he do enough?
Yeah, he already killed 2 or 3 carriers there. That's a huge dwindle in numbers, honestly.
Last is still down in supply, but crucially enough, his units are in position.
Oh, he's getting the observers again.
Yeah, but he didn't actually kill the last one. But still, I don't actually think these raids are threatened enough.
Yeah, and he gets another one. Oh,
he
my
got
God.
another too. He could actually dive on these carriers, but the observers are still there, or not. Actually, I think the observer actually moved a little bit out of
Yeah,
position.
the observer's out of position right now.
Look at this control from
And at the
Last.
same time, he's losing bases on the right side. This is really, really bad for Movie. And he looked like in such a good position earlier.
Oh my God, Last, what a god. Less supply, but doing more with it. Killing bases, killing carriers, and he's stabilized back at home.
Yeah, what an amazing position from Last. He was really far behind, honestly. That Wraith transition was beautifully executed.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why you see that, because it can be so effective if you catch your opponent off guard. That's exactly what Last did. It allowed him to hang on, but he is still at a deficit. Supply does matter here.
Oh,
and another
nice
recall on the
recall.
man. Every single one of these becomes harder and harder to deal with.
Yeah, you can see how out of position Last Army is. It's starting to come back from the middle of the map, so it will
Oh,
take a
no.
really long time to get here.
Yeah, that is just going
And we
to be
did
a-
lose most of the race, if not all of them, so there isn't a real snipe squad for the carriers anymore. So you kind of have to bring all these Goliaths home.
Pointing out that the Terran upgrades are actually 1-2, which
Oh,
are
wow.
terrible
Yeah.
upgrades for this position in the game. And it's because these recall have kept sniping these armories, stopping Last upgrades from coming through.
This is so many Goliaths. I think he needs to get these carriers out of here.
Yeah, he's trying
Once
to put
these Goliaths get on top, these carriers are having a bad day.
Indeed, they do like being in that position, no regret.
He's getting another armory.
Oh, but the Zealots are harassing again. This is just action.
Movie's playing so, yeah, Movie.
all over the map.
Both of them are playing so well right now.
Oh, I love watching this. This is the sickest Brood War. Great control here by Movie on both harassing the base and positioning his carriers in good spots. He's using that ledge to misposition the Goliaths and make it very hard for them to rotate around and take these carriers out.
Yeah, he's losing a lot of interceptors. Retreating the carriers right now is really important. He has to keep that carrier number up.
Crucially enough, though, Movie's economy is not looking good right now. His base in the 9 o'clock and actually the 3 o'clock. And
I think he's out of interceptors now, maybe.
yeah, right below
no,
it.
he's got a couple.
He does have a couple, but his economy is not
Yeah.
great. He's kind of fallen apart at macro, and that might be because he lost a few of his production facilities.
He lost a lot of his bases too. I mean, look, he's on 3 base now. At some point, he was on a lot more.
He did deal damage to Last bases, though, so the economy will be a little bit lower, but I believe that Last has an extra mining base out there on the map at, I guess, what do you want to call that, inner 11 o'clock?
Yeah. This actually looks like a pretty sizable army in the top right here. But,
I mean, this is the bastion of hope,
oh, here
right?
comes a recall maybe? Or is it, yeah, it should be a recall, possibly a stasis.
No, they're just pointing out that the tanks can't hit the Arbiter, so eventually the Arbiter will kill them, but it does like 5
really?
damage a shot.
He's not going to try and kill these tanks?
If I didn't check the energy levels, but in general, you don't really see that.
I mean, I don't know how much of an army he has in the bottom right is all.
Okay, EMP does go off, but it actually misses one of the Arbiters, so I think it's actually going to go for a stasis.
Yeah, nice stasis.
I mean, not
Gets
the,
3.
double stasis.
Oh,
and
wow.
That takes care of most of those Goliaths down to the ground. Actually, stasis a few interceptors there, so not the best, but in the end, the idea is that the carriers are safe and allowed to keep harassing. But he's running out of interceptors really quickly.
He is. It's only 4 Goliaths, too. They're doing so much damage. I mean, I guess the carrier count here is not that big. You were right about the Arbiter, by the way. It will kill these tanks eventually. I'm surprised he doesn't just unsiege and just A-click them. Like,
he actually has air weapons upgrades, so you know, the Arbiter may be a little bit
yeah, okay.
better at killing
That's
those
why
tanks.
he's getting them. You should send more Arbiters over there.
I haven't actually checked Terran upgrades in a while either.
Oh,
so
he actually has a pretty... Like, I don't see why you don't just recall that army on top of it. I don't know.
the trivia question for this game is, what is the name of the Arbiter weapon attack when you hover over it? I don't know what that is.
I have no idea. I have no clue.
That's a tough one, so if you guys get that without Googling.
Oh, he gets a stasis off before it dies. These carriers, like that carrier is literally 1 shot away from dying.
Yeah, that's a... Oh, my
those missed.
goodness. Movie's carrier control has just been impeccable. He finds these pixel... okay. Oh,
Is it getting out?
Are you kidding me?
Why?
What?
Okay.
Okay, finally
I was so
justice is
confused there. I was
served.
like, what?
I don't
Wait,
know.
where'd the Arbiter go? No, you had an Arbiter to kill these tanks.
The tanks fired upwards, and eventually the shell. I don't know. We missed
There's a
that
couple
one.
units in the main of last right now. I don't know what those are. Looks like the Dragoons.
I think the big thing to focus on is that Last believes with that one carrier out there that maybe Movie has a little bit less money, but secretly behind this, Movie has been banking carriers, and that's a big deal because.
Oh, that's actually a good point. Yeah.
If he explodes out on the map with carriers, and Last might not have built up a bunch of raids to counter them this time, that could be that big move that wins Movie the game.
Yeah. I mean, there are still units in Last base right now, too. I don't know what they are. I think they're some Dragoons maybe that were recalled in. Okay, he sees these carriers. He's going to take at least one of them out.
This is actually terrible. We talked about how good Movie's carrier positioning has been, but that is a big misposition. 2 less carriers means that when he does reveal his large count up in the upper right, they will be so much less effective.
Yeah, he's got 3 carriers on the left side here, but I don't know. That armory's not upgrading, right? The armory spins when it's upgrading, correct?
Let's see. It's still on 1-2 upgrades for Last. That is way less than you want to have right here. The Goliath count, though, is very high, and Movie's carrier positioning is not looking good.
He's going to get these carriers out, but actually losing a lot of units here.
He does still have some units, exactly like you said, from a latent recall. But
he's doing a really good job of like, attacking everywhere, honestly.
I believe he is going to lose that carrier.
He might lose another one.
The armor upgrade is actually really helping those carriers out, so they stay alive a little bit longer, but eventually they are pushed back.
Yeah, the army supply advantage now going in Last's favor, which is really scary. I don't know how you feel about this. There's actually a decent bank for Movie, but if you're going to spend it more on carriers, like after seeing this many Goliaths and turrets, it's really not going to do anything. So I kind of, you kind of have to go back into the ground army.
Our observer pointing out that Movie is mining off of 1 base, and it's not going to be enough to support mass carrier production, that's for sure, especially when you count the interceptors.
Yeah, interceptors are just taking away all the mineral bank.
I mean, it should be noted he does still have a little bit of a bank left over, but he's not mining it. Movie is just really trying his heart out here, but it feels like Terran inevitability is starting to kick in for Last.
Yeah, and this army, this is a really scary army, but it is really heavy Goliath. That is like the only thing he has going for him, which is not okay. Yeah, GG.
And that's it. Movie runs out of money or runs out of bases and can't get enough done with the carrier. Last, in the end, takes game number 1.